Hi there. Family plays a key role in influencing consumer behavior. The family is recognized as an important decision-making unit for consumption of most products and services. The largest quantity of food and household products are primarily consumed in a family setting. We all belong to families and have seen how this dynamic of consumption happens in the family setup. I'm Catherine Ngahu from SBO Research. Thank you for tuning in to my channel, Elevators, where we offer elevating and empowering messages to help you grow in life, career, or business. In this video, I'll talk about 8 distinct family roles in the decision-making process. I will explain how this concept of family consumption roles works and its relevance to marketing strategy. Do like this video and stay with me to the end so that you can get the whole picture. Marketers are generally interested in the attitudes and behavior of the 1 or 2 family members with the highest decision power. What we all know is that for a family to function effectively, certain tasks are shared among the members of that family. Depending on the type of household, someone will be responsible for cooking, cleaning, doing the laundry, taking the children to school, taking out the garbage, maintaining the house, changing bulbs is one of the interesting ones, and in some cases, walking the dog. In some homes, right here in Nairobi, someone in the family will have the task of taking the dog to the pet spa for grooming. All this depends on the type of home. We have all heard about the controversies in homes where someone forgets to pick the children from school and they have to be called by the school mistress to go and get their children. In some cases, children have slept in schools in the past because someone forgot their role, and probably due to poor communication in the family, no one takes responsibility. This has led schools to demand phone contacts for at least 2 people for every child during admission in order to make sure that if they can't get this person, they'll get the other one. But one of the challenges is that in situations where the dynamics of the family situation are not very peaceful, you may find that both have switched off their phones and the school is finding it difficult to reach people. Of course, these days they have found another way. They get the Uber or the school transport to take the child at home, and then they charge the parents. And that way the parents will become much more responsible for their role. Because really, what does that mean? It's like going to abandon your duties to the school. You want them to stay with the children even after hours. Now, all these roles tend to be at the center of conflict in families. You know, you didn't do this, you did this, and all that. In our fast-changing society, role allocation in the family is constantly changing, and marketers seek to understand about how the roles are shifting within the family in order to develop effective marketing strategy. Marketers are particularly interested in this information so that they can use it to identify who is the target market or who is the targeted person for their communication, and also how to phrase promotion messages so that they can be received well by the specific target audience. A look at the different consumption roles provides some insight into how family members interact in their various tasks. Now to the 8 family consumption roles. First is influencers. Within a family, there must be some people who play the role of influencers for different types of products. These are family members who provide information about a product or service. They tend to provide information with a positive slant, with a view to influencing others in the family. For example, teenage members of the family may be influencers when it comes to getting a Netflix subscription. They will provide the information, they will of course create a slant and maybe tell the parents how it's educational, the value of having a Netflix subscription for them to become much more exposed and be able to pass their exams or something like that. That is one way that they might use that role of influencer. Number 2 is gatekeepers. This is the other role which again is played by members who hold information. Gatekeepers are family members who control the flow of information about a product or service in the family. They generally seek to ensure that some members do not know some of the details about some products or services. Let's say like parents. Parents are always being locked out of information by their children because when they know too much, they tend to prevent things from happening the way these young people want them to happen. So the gatekeepers, for example, might not want the parents to know all the kinds of things that can happen on Netflix, the kind of movies that would be there, the kind of age groups, and about control for access and stuff like that. And even for DSTV, you find that the young people, they try to find ways to ensure that their parents do not know where to go to change the information on access. The third role is decider. Now, deciders are family members with the power of decision. They determine, either alone or with others, whether to buy or use a specific product or service. They are also the people who make the decisions regarding the disposal of various items in the family. Now, in most cases, these deciders are those who control the finances, usually the parents or big brothers or sisters, people who have the power of decision because they are able also to maybe raise the money for the purchases. So the influencers will work very hard to provide positive information about the product or services they want to these deciders. And this is so that they can get a favorable decision. Those are part of the dynamics of purchase in families. The influencers, who may also serve as gatekeepers, may also try to hide any negative information about the products of interest. For example, parents are told that video games are educational. And then what the young people do is to ensure that the parents do not know that there are games for different age groups. So they actually can even block out the place where age groups are marked on games so that their parents can allow them to buy games and not really know that some of the games are not suitable for them. The fourth role is buyers. These are family members who make the actual purchase of a particular product. So in the case of regular household products, the mother in the family is most likely the person who makes the actual purchase. And she goes to the supermarket and actually does the buying. Of course, there are many cases where you find the father being the person or the younger children being the ones to go to the supermarket to shop. But in many homes, it's so common to see more women in a supermarket picking household products than husbands. And in some cases, you see couples. And of course, single individuals will be there too. This means that she will choose the brands. Whoever does this buying actually chooses the brands and thus has the influence on the family. They influence perceptions and attitudes and preferences in the family. Now, the fifth role is preparers. Preparers are family members who transform the product into a form suitable for consumption by other family members. If it is food, then it's the person who cooks. And this makes a big difference. Communication about recipes, how to serve, let's say how to mix a drink even, is usually targeted at preparers, the ones who make it ready for usage. And of course, if you're thinking in terms of products like electronics, the information about how to assemble, electronics and the like, that would be targeted at the person who will do the assembly. And usually the language is done with the understanding of we are speaking to this kind of person. That's why marketers like to understand this kind of roles very keenly, because it helps them know who are we speaking to. When we write the description, the steps to assemble a product, who are we speaking to? And that will help us have the right language that will reach this person and enable them to understand what we are talking about. The sixth is users. These are family members who use or consume a particular product or service. Users are very important to marketers, as their vote of like or dislike is key to the repeat purchase of a product. And as we are here, remember to like this video. Yes? For example, if you take the case of baby food, the mother is the buyer and the decider while the baby is the user. But the baby will play the role of influencer. Actually, the baby has significant influence. Or you might ask, what kind of influence can the baby have as a user? But the baby cares about something. The baby cares about taste. And because of that, they have the role of influencer in this decision. And user, as the user and the influencer, they will shift where the mother goes to buy food next time, or the type of food that the mother will buy. How this happens is that the mother usually focuses on nutritional value when selecting baby food, but the baby only votes for taste. So they have a kind of conflict between them. If it doesn't taste good, the baby doesn't care. They don't know about nutrition and the like. So the baby will decide to reject the choice of food by spitting it out or refusing to swallow. That is the influence. So the mother will be forced to consider, because you don't want your child not feeding well. So the mother will be forced to think. The next time she goes shopping for this baby, she's going to consider both taste and nutrition, of course, because on her side, she still has to take care of nutrition. So marketers recognize this means that you have to balance. You make good quality value from the point of view of nutrition, but you also take care of taste so that the user does not resist your product. Another example for this user situation is in the real estate business. Consider like when a husband and wife go to purchase a home. You have to consider the interests of both parties. It depends with the kind of decision. They say that some decisions are husband dominated, others are wife dominated, and others are joint. But of course, there are also the decisions which are independent or unilateral, where each person takes on their own. But in the case of real estate, for a family, or even buying a family car, you'd find that these are decisions that are joint. And if you want to sell a family house to a young couple, then you need to factor the different interests and needs of both parties, the wife and the husband. And if they have a young family, you might even have to consider the points that especially the teenage children, make. Now, the seventh role is maintainers. These are family members who service, repair, or maintain a product or service so that it can provide continued satisfaction and usage. For example, who maintains the family car? Who knows when it should go for service? Who maintains the cooker, the fridge, and the like? So who maintains the family in the home? So all these things, who maintains whatever it is that the family uses? This is an important person, because if the product is not designed to guide that maintenance, then it becomes a challenge. One of the things you notice is that manufacturers of cars build in the reminder system about when to take your car for service, when to maintain, so that it can be well maintained and deliver the value that they promise. In the past, it used to be this paper was hanging on a string where they would write a date, and you'd have to be checking the date. Then you remember that you need to take the car for service. Today, they've inbuilt the system in many cars, especially the luxury cars. The car speaks to you, and it actually shows you the message, your car is due for service in a few days, and that's a reminder system that is much more effective because people used to forget. So the manufacturers understood you need to tell somebody a bit early, so you keep telling them, a few days before the due service. Then they have the time to actually act and prepare about it and diarize it. Now, the eighth role and the last is disposers. These are the family members who actually initiate or carry out the disposal or discontinuation of a particular product or service. So, for example, the kind of product which you will then resell after use, which you need to find where to sell or how to get rid of them, things like furniture and other durables which people tend to resell to others. The people who do this kind of service, they are also very good at finding where to get the better deals. Now, the one thing to note about all these roles is that the number and identity of the family members who fill those roles depend on the family type and the nature of the product or service in question. In some cases, it takes one member to do the role, while in others, there could be two or more people handling one role. You can find a couple going shopping together in the supermarket. You can find two teenage children, working on maintaining a product and things like that. So to sum up, the 8 key family consumption roles are: first, influencers; second, gatekeepers; 3, deciders; number 4, buyers; 5th, preparers; number 6, users; 7th, maintainers; and 8th, disposers. Thank you for staying with me to this point. Do like this video and share it with other people who you think might benefit from it. Thank you and best wishes. We all need to elevate our mindset at this time.